welcome to the Explainer. So I want you to picture a scene that's probably, well, incredibly familiar to you. The alarm goes off. It's pitch black outside, the air in your bedroom is freezing, and your bed is just perfectly comfortably warm. The absolute last thing in the world you want to do is throw off those covers and face the day. So what do? You reach out, groggily hit the snooze button in the dark, pull the blankets right back over your head, and feel this heavy sense of dread wash over you. We've all been there, right? It's this universal, almost painful daily struggle.
Why exactly do we do this to ourselves? Lying there in the dark, you just start bargaining with yourself. Just 5 more minutes of sleep. I'll do the important stuff later. I'll become the person I want to be tomorrow. But here's the brutal reality. When you start your day by giving in to that resistance, you're literally already losing a battle against yourself. This kind of reactive start completely ruins your willpower. By the time you actually do drag yourself out of bed, you're rushing, your stress levels absolutely spike, and you step out your front door completely vulnerable to whatever chaos the day decides to throw at you. You end up feeling like you're just wasting your potential, all because you didn't take aggressive ownership of your morning.
But what if I told you that this deeply modern feeling struggle isn't actually new at all? In fact, the solution to this exact problem was written down nearly 2,000 years ago. And it wasn't written by just anyone either. It was shared and conquered by the most powerful man in the world at the time, Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the Roman Empire. He used philosophy to literally force himself out of bed and face incredibly difficult days. And today, we're going to look at exactly how he did it.
Section 1. The Argument Under the Blankets.
Look me right in the eyes for a second. What if the most powerful man on earth literally argued with himself under the covers just like you do? I mean, if the emperor of Rome, a guy with absolute power and unimaginable wealth, had to actively fight the urge to stay in his warm bed, what makes you think you're exempt from that same human struggle? Marcus Aurelius actually recorded this daily battle in his private journal, the book we now call his Meditations. He writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." He'd lie there and basically ask himself what he had to complain about if he was going to get up and do exactly what he was born to do. His own inner voice would whine back at him, "But it's nicer here." And Marcus would reply by asking his lazy side a really profound question. Were you born just to feel nice under warm blankets, or were you born to actually get up, do things, and experience the world?
To pull himself out of that comfort zone, he looked outward. He reminded himself of nature's workers. Look at the plants, the birds, the ants, the spiders, the bees. All of nature works together to put the world in order, just going about their individual tasks without complaint. He realized that by staying in bed, he wasn't just being lazy. He was actively overstepping nature's set limits on sleeping, in the same way nature sets limits on eating and drinking. Like nature is doing its job and you aren't willing to do your job as a human being? Section 2. Respect your own nature. Now, Marcus didn't just stop at observing bugs and birds. He took this argument even further to utterly destroy his own excuses. He started comparing the morning routine to the obsessive, almost frantic dedication of passionate craftsmen. He poses this really piercing question. He says, look at the engraver, completely absorbed in their art, or the dancer who practices so hard they literally forget to eat or sleep. When people are truly possessed by what they love, they gladly sacrifice their physical comfort for it. So Marcus asks, do you have less respect for your own nature than the dancer does for the dance? When you reframe it this way, getting out of bed is no longer a punishment or some annoying chore. It becomes the ultimate profound sign of self-respect. Let me throw a little historical fact your way to put this into perspective. Just look at the stark contrast in work ethic between Roman emperors. Unlike his predecessors, guys like Tiberius, who essentially abandoned the throne to go lounge on some exotic island, or Hadrian, who spent a ton of his time away from Rome on luxury tours, Marcus Aurelius actually didn't have to get out of bed. He was the emperor. He possessed the absolute, unchecked power to be as lazy as he wanted. Yet he forced himself out of bed anyway. He was driven entirely by duty and respect for himself.
Section 3. Discard your anxiety.
Okay, so you're finally out of bed. The blankets are cast aside. Now what? Well, phase 2 of the morning happens. The reality of the day hits you right in the chest. We really love to blame our stress on our jobs, maybe our demanding families or a bad economy. But remember, Marcus Aurelius faced immense, earth-shattering stress. He was managing a devastated, crumbling economy and fighting a literal plague that was killing millions of people. Yet, right in the middle of this horrific period, he had a massive psychological breakthrough. He wrote, "Today I escaped anxiety." Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me and my own perceptions, not outside. This is absolutely huge. He realized that anxiety isn't some physical object being thrown at you by the outside world. The absolutely crucial point here is this comparison between the external world and the internal mind. Negative emotions are generated entirely within your own mind. They're born from your perceptions of events, not the uncontrollable external events themselves. And because that anxiety lives inside you, it means that you, and only you, always possess the incredible power to discard it.
Section 4. Prepare for terrible people. Of course, discarding anxiety is a lot easier said than done, especially when we hit the absolute quickest way a day gets ruined: interacting with other people, specifically corrupt, inept, rude, and endlessly ambitious people. Marcus was completely surrounded by them in the political snake pit of Rome. To prevent these people from destroying his peace of mind, he actively prepared for them every single morning. He would literally tell himself, "Today, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful, the envious, the unsocial." He cataloged them. By premeditating that he was going to run into rude and selfish individuals, he ensured he wouldn't be shocked, indignant, or injured by their ignorance when it inevitably happened.
Think about the most frustrating, annoying person you know, the one who ruins your mood just by walking into the room. What if you didn't let them catch you by surprise today? What if you fully expected them to be absolutely obnoxious, and instead of getting mad, you challenged yourself to treat that person as the ultimate test of your own patience? That completely flips the dynamic. You are no longer the victim of their bad attitude, you're a student practicing your own character.
Section 5. Soldier on when you are tired of life.
Now, some critics hear all this and think Marcus was just acting tough or, repressing his emotions. But that entirely misses the point. He experienced profound, deep pain. He buried several of his own children. He faced bitter betrayal from his closest allies. He saw floods and unending wars. He genuinely deeply felt tired of life. Suicide had a fairly accepted place in ancient Roman culture, but instead of choosing that route or resenting the really painful hand he was dealt, he found a different path. He wrote that there's a peace you can retreat to inside your own soul any time you like. He relied on his internal resources. He found respite in his daily duty, and he simply soldiered on. It's okay to be tired. It really is. But you have to use the resources inside you and just stick around.
Section 6. Memento Mori and Amor Fati.
To find that kind of resilience, we really need a reality check. And I'm going to give you a somewhat jarring one right now. You are dying right now. The time passing right this very second, you will never get back. That time already belongs to death. And this brilliantly illustrates the Stoic concept of memento mori. Remember, you must die. Now, we constantly pretend death doesn't exist, so I know this sounds super depressing at first, but actually, it's the exact opposite. Remembering your mortality is the ultimate tool to violently pull you back into the present moment. It instantly stops you from taking trivial annoyances, like bad traffic or a rude email, so seriously.
As Marcus wrote, and as the engraving on the memento mori coin reminds us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This daily reminder totally anchors your actions. If today was literally your last day, would you really waste it hitting snooze or arguing with a busybody? Then you combine that with amor fati, which translates to a love of fate. This is where the Stoic mindset becomes a genuine superpower. When adversity strikes, you don't just tolerate it, you don't just put up with it with gritted teeth, you embrace it, you learn to actually love whatever happens to you.
Marcus used this really incredible analogy of a blazing fire. A small candle can be blown out by the wind, right? But a blazing fire turns everything thrown into it into fuel and brightness. That is amor fati. You look at today's problems, the stressful meetings, the annoying people, the unexpected hurdles, and you say, I love it. I'm going to use this as fuel to become better. You transform every single obstacle into an opportunity to practice virtue.
So let's bring this all together. Having a better day doesn't require some magic life hack. It doesn't require waiting for a perfect set of circumstances that honestly will never arrive. It simply requires the discipline and self-respect to execute these timeless, historical lessons. Throw off the blankets because you respect your nature. Discard your anxiety because you control your mind. Prepare for difficult people so they literally cannot steal your peace. And love your fate, using every single obstacle as fuel.
If you want to master your mornings and get this kind of ancient wisdom delivered straight to your inbox completely for free every single day, you need to sign up for the Daily Stoic email at dailystoic.com/email. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and hey, leave a comment below letting me know which piece of Marcus Aurelius' advice you're going to use tomorrow morning.
I'll leave you with this final provocative thought from the emperor himself. You could be good today. Instead, you choose tomorrow. When will you stop procrastinating your own potential? The time to take action is right now. We'll see you in the next explainer.